Happy Halloween, everyone, and welcome to another Advanced Warfare video. So like I said, today is Halloween, which means that 4 things are going to be happening. 1, children are going to look cute and go trick-or-treating. Grown men will wear makeup, and women are going to look cute and be very, very cold. And at some point in the night, everyone's going to get so drunk and tired that they just want to sit down on the couch and veg out in front of a nice horror movie. But with so many different movies to choose from, the question becomes, which one are you going to watch? Well, fear not, I am here with my guide to horror movies to help you select the right one for your crowd. So horror movies can basically be broken down into 6 different categories: supernatural, slasher, torture porn, horde, hybrids, and found footage. So supernatural is going to be things like ghosts and demons, heaven and hell, possessions, things like that. And they focus more on the type of horror that makes your hair stand on end. They're not so much gory, making you not want to look at the screen, or jump scares making you jump out of your skin every 10 seconds, but rather it's the type of scary that follows you home and haunts your dreams for a couple of days. The kind of scary that makes you question the shadows on your wall at night. And a lot of them actually manage to be some of the scariest movies ever made, while at the same time maintaining a PG-13 rating, because they don't have to rely on random shots of breasts or violent, gory death scenes to keep your attention. They simply keep your attention because of the tension that is constantly building from the beginning of the movie to the climax. So next up are slasher films, and slasher films are going to be basically the exact opposite of supernatural films. They are going to need to be rated R. They're going to rely heavily on jump scares. They're going to have a very high body count. Most of the kills are going to be either very creative or very gory, and they will usually show you a random pair of breasts in the middle of the scene, or movie rather, just to keep your attention, because, to be honest, there's not a whole lot worth paying attention to. And the one thing I'll say about watching a slasher film is don't ever watch the sequel to it. The first slasher film usually has decent writing, a decent script. It's going to rely a little bit more on story than it will the killings. They usually give the killer a reason for killing the people that he's killing, whether it's that they drove over him on a rainy road a year ago, or they were just, rude to them as childs and drove them insane, or whatever the case may be. They're going to have an actual reason for the killings, and generally speaking, the acting is better in the first slasher film. You get actors like Jennifer Love Hewitt, Drew Barrymore, Sarah Michelle Gellar, folks like that are actually pretty good. You even have Jamie Lee Curtis and Johnny Depp got their starts in slasher films. But the sequels always end up just getting completely ridiculous. You get like Michael Myers in The Hood, you get Jason in space, and it basically boils down to how many different creative and bloody ways can we have our killer kill random people, and there is no attachment to any of the characters. You end up at a certain point actually rooting for the killer. It's like the killer is actually the hero of the story, and you're cheering when he does kill somebody in a cool way, and they're just not good. Don't watch sequels. And next up is torture porn, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one because this is probably my least, this is my second least favorite of the horror genre. Torture porn is going to be things like Saw, Final Destination eventually deteriorated to torture porn. Hostel is torture porn. Basically, the scary part of torture porn is making you afraid to look at the screen because you don't want to see what you're about to see. You don't want to see somebody jab a scalpel into somebody's eye or cut their hand off with a chainsaw because it's torture porn. So I don't suggest watching these. I don't suggest doing them. They usually have very wooden acting. They usually have almost no story, if they even bother trying to have a story at all. And ultimately, most of the characters in it are all despicable, and I can't remember the last time I saw a torture porn film where I didn't kind of want everybody to get what's coming to them. The killer, the hero, everybody is just kind of a terrible person. The one exception I will say is the movie Hard Candy, which is actually a pretty good movie. It stars Ellen Page from Juno, and the story is basically her friend gets raped and molested by somebody, and so she intentionally gets herself kidnapped by this guy so that she can then turn the tables rather, and basically just torture the crap out of him. And it's, you know, as far as torture porn goes, it's a pretty good movie. So next up are the Horde movies, and Horde movies are anything where the danger lies in how many of whatever it is there are. And we're talking about spiders, any kind of bug really, but most notably, of course, are zombies. And the thing about these movies is that there has really only been 3 zombie movies ever made, and everything else involving zombies has been a remake of one of those 3 movies. So when you think about it, you have the early zombie apocalypse is just starting, and we're all running for our lives trying to survive. These typically wind up finding themselves in a large confined area like a stadium or a shopping mall or a warehouse of some kind. And the second is the zombie apocalypse has been going on for a while. We are a ragtag group of survivors, and we're trying to make our way to this mythical place where zombies don't exist. And what always ends up happening in these movies is they eventually get to where they're going and find out that zombies are there, and they're just as screwed as they've ever been. And the third is the evil corporation or military has created a zombie virus, and they're trying to contain it in some kind of very heavily populated city. You notice how these things never take place in like Nevada or Area 51. It's always like New York or London or LA or something like that. The thing that kind of sets these apart from the other ones is that in the military or corporation created zombie apocalypse, the military and or corporation are usually the bad guys. The zombies are kind of the secondary bad guys. They're more just obstacles standing between the good guys and the bad guys. But the bad guys are actually whoever it is that created the zombies in the first place. And since these types of movies are so close-ended, and there's really only 3 types of movies you can make with it, these are going to be very heavily reliant on characters. You need to have a great cast of charismatic, fun-to-watch people, because if you try to make it about the zombies or the spiders or whatever else, it's gonna fail, because you can only watch people slowly walk around going "Arrgh," for so long before you get sick of it. And it is because of this that I can honestly say that the best zombie movie ever made was Zombieland, and to me it's not even close. And the reason that it's Zombieland is because there's like 45 minutes where you don't even see a zombie on screen. Zombieland is completely reliant and focused on the characters, and the characters are all entertaining, and they're good, and they have real development. It's funny because you don't even get to know their names, but they end up being better developed characters than a lot of legitimate non-horror movies. And that's the thing about Zombieland is Zombieland isn't just a great zombie movie. Zombieland is just a really good movie, period. And next up are the hybrids. And the hybrids are probably my favorite type of horror movie characters. These are going to be like werewolves or vampires or witches, things like that. And the thing about them is they're human, basically. And the reason that that's so good is because they can actually be the character. You know, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees are very stone characters. You can't really do a whole lot with them. They're more just background decorations. Zombies the same way. You can only see a zombie for so long before you're asking for something more. But with vampires, for example, vampires are great because vampires can be anything a human can be. I mean, if you really think about it, vampires can be just these hideous, horrible, scary monsters. They can be sexy. They can be depressing and broody. And they can be completely sociopathic, and that's what makes them so entertaining. Vampires are so versatile, witches are so versatile, werewolves not quite as much, but still to a degree, they can still be the character. Most horror movies, you end up having the monster is just kind of the background character, and the actual actor, the actual story is based around a regular human. You know, in any ghost story, you basically just have the ghost walking around in the background, and then you have an actual human actor who is being haunted, and they're the hero of the story. And zombies are the same way. You have this group of people that are all trying to survive the zombie apocalypse, and the zombies are more just decorations than anything. But with witches, vampires, and werewolves, they are actually the stars of the movie, and that's great because they don't get pigeonholed into these very generic stories, and there's really no limit to what you can do with them. You can have them be funny, you can have them be scary, you can have them be suave, you can have them be depressed, you can have them be ruling the world and humans are the minority. You can have them be a minority hiding among the humans. There's just no limit to what you can do with vampires and the other hybrids. And finally, we have the found footage films. And understand one thing, if you go see a found footage film, I'm mad at you. I really am, because I hate this genre. They are the reality shows of the film industry. And what I mean by that is they cost almost nothing to make. You know, the reason that you keep seeing reality shows pop up everywhere and how everybody has a reality show, the reason for that is because they're so cheap. You don't have to have actors. You don't have to have really good sound recording equipment. You don't have to have high-end writers. They're just so cheap to make that you don't really need super high ratings in order to make them profitable for the company. And that's exactly what found footage films are. They are a complete scam, and they make me really mad. You know, Paranormal Activity cost $11,000 to make. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, that came out like 10 years before it, costs somewhere in the $17 million to make range. And how much did it cost you to go see it? Yeah, it costs the same price. That's the same ticket price. How much does it cost you to buy it on DVD or rent it? The exact same price. They are selling you the cheapest, most ridiculous product, and they don't need, you know, 1/1000th of the number of people to see it in order to turn a huge profit. And they are a complete scam. Please do not see any more found footage films, because we really need Hollywood to realize we want quality over, you know, just your ability to turn a profit. So thanks for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helps you select your entertainment for the evening. Happy Halloween, be safe, watch for cars, and goodbye.